All right, we are live, and the New York Mets are about to begin the second half of the 2024 MLB season in a wild card spot above 500 and ready to give us a little bit of a postseason race here. I think we could say pennant race might be out of the question, but postseason race is all you can ask for. That's all that matters, and that is what the wild card entails. And hey, boys, that's all we could have asked for after the first month or two of this season. So we can cool off, chill out, and relax a little. And as always, this episode is presented by the Kings of Chill, Coors Light. The perfect summer playlist may be elusive, but one thing is for sure, it gets better when it's enjoyed with a cold Coors Light. OMG has been the song of the summer and the season, and you can pair your beautiful OMG with Coors Light. Me personally, I sip on my Coors Lights. We're doing some grilling. It's grilling season right now. It's actually not unbearably hot out, thankfully, but even if it is, you can get your Coors Light when the mountains are blue, and Coors Light is the only choice when you're ready to choose chill. When the mountains turn blue, it's as cold as the Rockies. So amplify your chill this summer with Coors Light. Choose chill. Choose Coors Light. Go to CoorsLight.com/believe to see how Coors Light can amplify your summer. And be sure to keep an eye out on Coors Light's social handles all summer long for more exciting announcements. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. From the councils of March to the parades in October, Coors Light is there every step of the way with us. All right, boys. All right, so well, actually, for the people listening, no KFC today. Keegan's birthday. Happy birthday, Keegan, baby. They're doing some father-son stuff. So, like Phil said, off day for the Mets. Everything is gravy on a birthday when the Mets can't ruin it, right? So we're all good. Everyone's looking bright-eyed and bushy-tailed right now. Everyone had a couple days or a week to not have this team haunt them, and I feel like we're feeling pretty good. Kyle, how's it going in Long Island?
I don't know about you guys, but the last 2 days have been an off day for me too, because I did not tune in for the All-Star game. I watched Pete's abysmal round and then said, thank you for not ruining my entire night. I can go to bed or watch whatever else I want to watch. The Home Run Derby, boys, I know we're going to get into it. They got to do something because this shit is getting awful.
Okay, Kyle, I'm happy you're the first one to make that announcement because trust tree, I didn't watch a swing of the Home Run Derby or a minute of the All-Star game that did not involve Pete Alonso because I've done this for years and years and years with the dunk contest, with the Home Run Derby, with the Pro Bowl, with all the All-Star games. It just gets worse every year. I also realize it's not for me. I'm probably aging out of it. And once I saw Pete was shitting the bed, even with our boy Dave Joust, if you can't hit home runs with Dave Joust, I heard there was rule changes. I'm too old to understand rule changes. I did see unbelievable finish. That was awesome. But other than that, and it was kind of a flop, it seems like. And then the night of the All-Star game, I just said I'm just not going to do it anymore. And, again, there's always drama in the MLB All-Star game. It's better than all the others, which says absolutely nothing. But Phil, the absolute baseball junkie of the podcast, what was your All-Star weekend like, Phil?
Home Run Derby, boring. Get that out the way. Agree with you guys on that. All-Star game, I'd probably rate it as a 6.7. It was a good game. Nothing I'll remember. I am disappointed because, if it was tied after 9 innings, they would decide the winner off a home run derby where the coaches would pitch to the players. So when it was 5-3 in the 9th inning, I was kind of hoping for that, but.
Yeah. So what's his name? So who we have this year? Yuki Matsui just said in the chat here, Ingrid Andress. That was probably the national anthem was like the story of the weekend. Yep. As crazy as that. Like my mom even knew about that.
That was the highlight of everything.
Sang so bad, ultimate PR spin. Not saying she doesn't need help, but to come out the next day and be like, "Hey guys, I'm checking into rehab because clearly there's an issue." Can't be mad at her for that. That's an all-time spin move.
All-time spin zone. And rehab is fun. Great way to end rehab announcement in your Instagram stories. We are in a new world, fellas, when that's what happens. So that's kind of the All-Star. Phil, by the way, your mic's a little off right now. I don't know if you have to tweak anything, but before we get yelled at in the chat, I figured.
Clearly, we didn't understand the rules of the Home Run Derby, but neither did Joust and Alonso because he was taking pitches left and right, and I'm screaming at the TV, "You only get 40, asshole!" So one, it's on the clock. 2, you only get 40. So Joust is taking his sweet time throwing shit pitches. It was just they need to go back to 10 outs. And like you said, Clem, we're at the point where I don't know if I'm aging out or it's just getting worse. I think it's the latter. I think that they've made this like Frankenstein home run derby at this point where like Pete won his 2 because it was unlimited swings within the time frame. Now you got this one where it's a mixture of both. Just go back to 10 outs. You're going to get like the purest winner at that point.
Yeah, I think that's the dunk contest. They're trying all these things to fix it too, but I think it could be
your all-time home run derby.
It could be my all-time like favorite.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it's chalk, but it's the juiced out monsters hitting the balls over the green monster, right? That has to be it. Allow steroids,
like the top of the stadium, and then you had Bonds and McGuire going at it. Like I would watch that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Yeah. Now this is the thing. By the way, Phil, you mentioned him last week, and I kind of like didn't even register with me. You didn't have to have Ozuna in it too. Like, how do you have Ozuna like this? Just pure. Have the biggest scumbag in the league hitting home runs during the Derby. You don't have to.
Too many people said no, and also I switched to the MacBook like actual microphone. That's gotcha. If it's bad, I'll just. Now. It's good now. Okay, good.
You're good. Yeah, you're really.
I would just join on my phone, but yeah, too many people said no to where it's like, oh, we said have a scumbag in the Derby, and I heard rumors that the long layoff between hitting is why he just choked in the first round. Seems like an Atlanta Braves thing.
Phil's getting into like gutter wars during the All-Star break with Braves fans. I absolutely that honestly, it's like a Twitter event for me now. Like I'll just go on Twitter, I'll see that's how I saw the ending. Honestly, I've said this on the pod since day one. My favorite part of the All-Star game, it's such an old man take, but it's been the way since I was a kid. I just love seeing tipping the caps. You see the whole line of people. I kind of like it when they're all wearing their jerseys, which is like another thing that, Manfred said, we'll talk about it. Right. But hopefully that comes back down the road. That's all I really care about. I saw it on Twitter. I was like, I saw it by one All-Star, Pete Alonso, who's like the fourth best Met on the team right now. So it is what it is. I'm sure people loved it. I'm sure people hated it. We're kind of indifferent to it, it sounds like. What?
Did he even get in the game?
Yeah, he struck out in the 9th inning.
All right.
And also, it's like, we have to talk about the jerseys. Like, what are the conversations about, like, bringing back the old jerseys? It's like, we should just bring them back. It should be that easy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see what's like, we'll have talks.
Those jerseys are just all. I can't imagine they like are selling millions of dollars of MLB All-Star jerseys.
And by the way, I used to love before social media, you had to tune in to the home run derby to see what the All-Star jersey was going to be. Like they would have better viewership, I think, if they withheld some of this stuff where they're not previewing the jerseys before the actual event. So you have to tune in to look at it, and then people can respond on social media about how gross they are.
Yeah, that's how everything will go viral then. So that was basically the All-Star break. The other thing that happened right around then, MLB draft, the mid-season where you don't even realize it's going on until you start seeing tweets about it for the most part. The only take I had on everything was when I saw a guy named Seaver King got drafted before us. I was heartbroken. I didn't realize how badly I wanted someone named Seaver King on the Mets until I saw he existed, and I saw who got him. The Angels got him?
The Nationals, I'm pretty sure.
Nationals, that's right. That's the Nationals. I forgot about that. So that was heartbreaking. Other than that, I'm kind of just indifferent on it all. Phil, do you have any? I saw one guy we drafted as a two-way guy, but the guy Cowboy Ohtani, who we fell in love with for being a two-way guy, is now a one-way guy again. So I feel like these guys, they're two-way guys until like the second year. They're like, I suck at this one thing when it comes. I don't think
they're gonna let him be a two-way guy. I think he's gonna focus on hitting. And you know what? You drafted a guy's college roommates. You know what? The power of friendship is what we're gonna draft, and I like that.
Nova Mets.
It's working for Harrison Bader and Alonso right now, teammates.
Yeah, true. There was a time where it seemed like we were going to go the Florida way. Phil, do you have any takes on anything, though, from the draft or anything you saw along the way?
It's really hard. I mean, you're not going to know if you have a good draft till like years and years and years down the line. Yeah. So you can't even grade like our 2019 draft right now, and that was 5 years ago. Well, maybe you could, but like this draft, I keep hearing we made smart decisions, so we made smart decisions. How about that?
What about
Ever since the Kumar Rocker thing, it's like, I'm like, are they even going to sign? Are we going to like have them where it's going to pan out? It really comes down to the evaluation. And we've said it before in the past. You don't even know if you have a good GM until most times they're already fired. And you're like, pretty good draft class. He had a lot of good prospects. Like he's just inheriting whoever the next guy got. You know what I mean?
Yep, definitely. And the Kumar Rocker thing was the absolute game changer. And the MLB draft every year is just pure hilarity where it's like, oh, this guy should go number 1 because of signability. He went 23 and this team will sign him. It's ridiculousness. So.
Also, like the NBA draft this last year was like nobody knew who a lot of people were because they were all European guys. Most of the players that are getting the actual moving the needle are the international players, and nobody pays attention to those signings and pickups when it comes down to it. So it's like, yeah, the number 1 guy in the MLB draft, great, but he could be like the 5th guy on the depth chart with the Dominican players. Like, who knows?
Yeah. So we'll see how it all shakes out. If at any point we have to figure out who the hell these guys are, we hit the Joe DeMaio button. He pops up and can tell us who he is. And I keep asking him for comps, even though he hates giving comps for different people. Who was it? Parada. That was the guy we drafted with the Rocker pick, the next year, right? So it's a guy like that who was more ready than most and coming out of college, still haven't seen. He's not sniffing here. We have a bunch of guys.
He's putting up bad numbers in AA, so it's not like we're gonna see him anytime soon.
Phil, we lost your mic again. We lost your mic.
Darth Vader. I saw the fall off has to be studied, and then it was his progression through the minors. It's that's naturally going to happen when you're a player and you move up to the next level. It's supposed to be a struggle for him to figure it out. The weird thing, though, especially with Alvarez and him, with those 2 comparisons, was Parada was the proven defensive catcher who was going to have a fast track to the pros, and now Alvarez is up, and it's I can't imagine another a catcher you'd want behind the dish at this point in the game in terms of calling games and receiving pitches.
Benching our MVP essentially seems like a bad idea, right? Yeah. Or if it's not our MVP, he's the glue to the entire team, it seems like. So it is one of the things where it is odd to bench a catcher. But hey, the more you can keep Alvarez fresh, the better. I'm all for that. Parada sounds like he's good. And hey, at the worst comes to worst, that's another chip for David Stearns to trade down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last thing before we kind of just get into the first half, second half thoughts here, Kyle, I think you sent this to the group here. I just wanted to share with the people that didn't see this lovely tweet going, hitting the web right here for the people who are listening. Has the 2023 revenue for every MLB team along with the 2024 payroll. So basically, who invested their revenue the most into next year's payroll? And number 1 on this list, despite a payroll of $393 million, the owner then put $342 million back into the payroll for an 87%, year-over-year reinvestment. Which, granted, a lot of those because those guys were still on the team. Your New York Mets, Steve Cohen, the best owner in baseball. Next in the list was the Blue Jays at 75%, and then the bottom of the list you have the Rays, the Athletics, and then the Orioles, which is I don't know if that's could that potentially be an old issue from the old ownership, because I feel like the new owners are pretty good there, right?
I just, in terms of the money and the contracts, they had a lot of rookie deals, right? All those guys are pretty young, so I think that's where it's coming into effect. I mean, the most glaring thing on here has got to be the Yankees, though, because all they do is scream poor Hal.
Yep.
For Steinbrenner's money is from the hotels and shit. That's probably, they're the richest owners that you really don't know what they do for actual business. Their business is just running the Yankees. They make $679 million on the season, and they're paying less into their team than the Mets. I would be livid as a Yankee fan.
Yeah, that's a tough look. Yeah, so 679 by the Yankees is by far the most. Second most is the Dodgers at $549 million in revenue. So the Yankees are more than $100 million above them, and yet the Yankees invested $316 million into their payroll, while the Dodgers $330, Mets $342. So it's that money is there for the Juan Soto contract next year, right? But it's a matter of whether or not the Yankees, are able to lift those fucking. What do they say? He lifts quarters like manholes or whatever. And, we kind of dealt with that with the Wilpons for years and years. So just a nice little snapshot. Just to remind you that Steve Cohen actually gives a fuck, which is nice to see and something we've known. So,
and that this is his actual play thing, because he makes $1 billion every year hand over fist it's nothing.
Yeah, no matter what. And now he has a GM or a president that actually knows what the hell
it's a write-off. He should be writing this off that the Mets fans are a charity case and he's donating all of this money.
Yeah, I don't hate that one bit. Yeah, so that's basically all I got from, we'll do some first half, second half stuff. Was there anything from the break here that I missed or that you guys wanted to touch on? I know we traded for someone yesterday, right, Phil? Or he signed someone.
Alex Young.
Alex Young, yep.
And also
Lefty
we could touch on
reliever.
on the best booth in baseball per awful announcing.
Oh, yeah. So trigger warning to Michael K. I know he's a subscriber to the We Gotta Believe podcast. Yet again, I believe all announcing said the Mets are the best booth in baseball. SNY, I'm sure will include that in all their ad reads moving forward to wherever they may advertise. And it's gonna upset some people, but it's kind of just nice. It's just a given. It's not even. I don't even get excited about it anymore. It's just it's crazy when you hear they're not. You're like, oh shit! I'll click on the article and they're second or third, and I'm like, whatever. I'm sure those other teams are just fine out there. So, did Michael K actually have a statement about that? Did he say anything? Because he was getting trolled on Twitter like a motherfucker.
Oh, he was tagged in the entire comments.
Oh God, that was fantastic.
Did you guys see the Jose Iglesias OMG concert? If you're SNY, you're doing that guy dirty because they showed him on the stage and then they sent out a second video where it panned to the crowd and it was like 7 people, kids, rushing the stage for T-shirts that he was throwing out. And I was like, oh, you could have just shown the snapshot of him performing. That would have been plenty. Didn't need to see the crowd or lack thereof.
Oh, no. I don't like that.
He was like on like the C-list stage at like a music festival where like nobody goes to the concert. They're just walking through.
They should have him do the anthem looking back. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's better you went viral for a bad anthem than a good anthem or a player doing the anthem. But if he got to do his concert and did the anthem, that would have been a pretty cool spot for them. So, again, New York Mets baseball, baby. You never know what the fuck's going to happen. We may have a fucking international superstar as our backup middle infielder.
#1 trending song on the international pop chart for his category, they said.
That's incredible. All right, so that's basically the wrap up for the last week or so. So we'll dive into some first half awards, second half thoughts, yada yada yada, and that is brought to you by our friends at DraftKings. Know what summer means to me? Beaches, BBQs, and baseball. So after you check out today's pitching matchups, head over to DraftKings Sportsbook and get in on all of today's, or in our case, tomorrow's action. From the first pitch on the east until the final out west, DraftKings has you covered with same-game parlays, live betting, odd boosts, and so much more. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. It's that simple. Looking at the Metropolitans tomorrow against the Marlins, -130. So we're favorites against the Marlins on the road. That's a good thing. I'm just going to go ahead and say it's a good thing. Over under is 8. Hopefully the offense can keep it cranking. And if you're new to DraftKings, you got to check this out. New customers bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code BELIEVE. That's code BELIEVE. For new customers, you get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. All right, fellas. So I listed out some awards here, and I didn't tell you guys before because I want to just kind of get your train of thought, as you're just going through it here. So first half MVP for your New York Metropolitan current wild card qualifiers. First half MVP for the New York Mets. We'll go Kyle first.
You already said it. We already talked about him. It's definitely got to be Alvarez. It's not necessarily the stats on the paper. It's he's in the game, and they are a well over 500 team. The pitchers love throwing to him. He's a gamer. You got a catcher who's young, who's still legging out doubles and like willing the team across the finish line night in and night out. That's your guy who like shouldn't be the voice in the clubhouse, shouldn't be the clubhouse leader as young as he is, but everybody seems to turn to him in the big moments. Now, he hasn't had his, signature play this season, but overall, he was away. The team was shit. He's back. The team is now back to being a contender. I think that's the runaway favorite for me.
That's fair. Phil?
Obviously, I would say Alvarez, but let's be different. Mark Vientos just took over the third base job and didn't give it back. And I can't believe I'm literally talking about this compared to where I was on him like two months ago. I was ready to trade him and called him AAA All-Star. He's just – I think he's pushing like a 900 OPS. His defense is actually playable. I've never been more wrong on a player than I was on.
He body swapped with Beatty. Like they did a Freaky Friday and left him down in AAA.
He could have just pouted and just been like, oh, I deserve to be there. It's like, no, he's put in the hard work and he actually deserves to be here. It's incredible.
No, that's fair. You need a guy like Vientos to come up every so often and check you as a fan. And I think we were all pretty much on that. And listen, he didn't do himself any favor with that liking of the Instagram post and kind of some of the comments he made, but we also all understood why he was so upset when they signed, a DH right at the 11th hour or 23rd hour, whatever the fucking saying is. To get him upset, but it's like we all think our takes are right, and then you have a guy who just takes you at it by the knees. I'll never forget this. My buddy and I were howling laughing at the Houston Texans when they drafted Mario Williams #1. We're like, Reggie Bush is going to be a 20-time Pro Bowler, Vince Young is going to be a Super Bowl MVP, and like Mario Williams was like getting massive deals. Pass rusher changed the game, and it's like sometimes the guys who were paid to do to make all the moves know what they're talking about a little more. So the Mark Vientos was definitely a good. We're so used to the Eric Campbells being just waved out there, right? That it's when these guys actually do pan out. I think you guys kind of nailed the two that probably are the right answers. I'll just go Lindor, just because again, another year, doesn't make an All-Star team, top 10 in WAR in the National League, one of the best shortstops in the game, just quietly going about his business. And I've really come around on this. I want him to make an all-star team for to have it basically, to be proud of it, have it on the resume, yada, yada. I think we'd all rather just take a few days off, chill at home instead of flying to and from Texas. By hot as balls there. And you have to kind of do all the little shaking hands, signing autographs, all the nonsense. So
did you see the video his wife posted?
No.
He carries his bat around his house with him and he swings every 5 minutes. She's like, he literally, I can't get him to stop. He's been off for 3 days, and it's like him cooking breakfast with the bat right next to him. I'm like, I love this guy. He can't get enough of the game. He can't get away even if he wants to.
Oh, I did not see that. I mean, come on, man. That's a dude's rock. Who amongst us? I don't do the bat swing. I do the pitching motion when I'm just walking around the house. So, and of course, who doesn't slap the top of the doorway whenever they're playing basketball in their mind? So good to know Francisco Lindor, one of us, except he's a fucking future Hall of Famer that half his fan base hates.
Also, this was shocking to me. He's 6th all time in shortstop home runs. This is a guy who's going to have a conversation of the Hall of Fame where it's going to be, the longer he plays, the more it's going to be a slam dunk of you guys are idiots. All the people that are screaming from the rooftops that Keith Hernandez, and I agree with this, should be in the Hall of Fame. When it comes to Francisco Lindor, when his career's over, it's going to be oh yeah, obviously.
So I just looked at this stat muse I'm looking at here. Most home runs by a shortstop. He's 232, just past Jimmy Rollins for 7th. Tulowitzki at 8. Wow. I mean, I know he was always hurt. So Jeter's next in his crosshairs at 260. Tejada 285, because they had to play shortstop during the game, right? 285. Ernie Banks 298. A-Rod was who I thought of, but I forgot he moved to 3rd for most of the second half of his career. And then Cal at 353. Wow. Imagine Francisco Lindor, all-time leader in shortstop home runs. Never makes an all-star team with the Mets and just consistently gets shit on by his fan base because he has bad Aprils and Mays. That's incredible. He's going to have a lot of stats like that are going to be whoa, Right. And the defensive stuff doesn't usually have a sexy stats, but that stuff is, the linchpin to a lot of the arguments with him. So still good. Francisco Lindor is still good. I know it's a hot take that this podcast has had for years, but we're still going to say it. Francisco Lindor is good. First half LVP for the Mets. LVP, which is always a fucking annual right of this podcast to shit on someone. I think I know who I have in mind, and I'm pretty sure it's the same as Phil. So Phil, I'm going to see if we're on the same page here.
I want to say Edwin Diaz. It's tough. I could say Ottavino and Diekman just because they are unusable. But Diaz, he wasn't himself. He blew 6 or 7 games in May alone. Then comes back, has a 10-game suspension, and then is a little shaky afterwards. We haven't had an actual closer the first 4 months of the year that we could trust. And I feel like he's cost us a bunch of games. And I feel like he's probably cost us more than anyone.
When I first said that, I was kind of whoa. But remember when we were going through all the console moments, and it was Diaz blows saves, Diaz blows second save, 3rd in a row that Diaz. And you're holy shit, he really was the cause of all this. And it was the fact that we were dealing with guys like Tyrone Taylor and getting adjusted to stuff like that we didn't realize how bad the problem was. That's fair. I was gonna say Ottavino just because it's a mix of he stinks, he absolutely fucking stinks. His ERA is 5, but it's just his face And just something about it, his goddamn demeanor. I don't know. It's like a mix of those three things, and the fact that it's like we thought we were gone with him, and he just came back. You're like, all right, if he's at least decent, I can live with it. A 4.5 year, I can live with. It's just like 5.03. I just want to puke everywhere. So,
not to mention, he's asking Trevor May for helps on how to fix him in his comment section of his pitching breakdowns. I don't know if anyone saw this, but he was doing a Kevin Gausman video, I guess, breaking down the mechanics, and right there in the comment section it says, "Fix me, Trevor." So gotta give it to the guy for being self-aware, but you can't have that when you're coming into the game with a 1 run in the 8th.
Yep. For sure. Kyle, you have anyone different for LVP? Or, I mean, we're
as soon as you said it, immediately popped into my head was Ottavino. I'm going to go Diekman. And the reason being was like, he was our big bullpen offseason signing where it was like, oh, Stearns is serious. Like, he's going and getting a guy that's proven, only for him to put on the Mets jersey and just devolve into any other nameless Mets reliever in the bullpen that we've come to hate.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things where it's like, I don't even know necessarily what's wrong with him. It's just he finds every single barrel or he can't find the strike zone. It's just like, makes no sense to me. And it's also one of those things where because he has the name and because he has like the past ability, this is going to be strung on forever. Like, we're going to definitely see the contract through because of the potential of him to go back to what he was doing. But I don't see it there. Like, Reed Garrett was nothing and then became something. And now he's kind of like reverting back a little bit, but like, Ekman fell off a cliff, and we need to shore up the bullpen if we're going to have shit.
Reed Garrett's problem is they just kept using him like for 2 innings every
80 pitches in like fucking 4 days. Yeah.
And that's our team leader in wins right there, Reed Garrett. He has 7 wins on the season.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
they ran him into the ground.
And that's what happens when you get a couple injuries. I mean, that's the thing. We lost Raleigh, and it's like, well, there goes our lefty reliever. Right.
And Drew Smith. Like, they have people that they got to fill in on the back end at this point.
By the way, I meant to tweet this out the other day. I forgot to. I'm going to pour one out for my Blue Mountain boy. Best of luck. Pretty sure he's cooked. I think it's over now, unfortunately. But I'm telling you, it's one of those great what ifs. I'll be telling my grandkids about what Drew Smith could have been. He probably would have never been traded to the Mets if he didn't have the issues he had for fucking Lucas Duda. But I loved him. I loved the irrational confidence going at. Was it a Playboy model or was it like a SI swimsuit model?
I think it was a Sports Illustrated model.
Yeah, Sports Illustrated model. So shout out to him for going at it. Also, this really does rising tide lifts all ships or whatever. I think we all would be saying Jeff McNeil if the offense wasn't good. But it's like like whatever. He sucks. Like, it is what it is. Iglesias will come in. So like Jeff McNeil was anywhere near what he was, we'd be really fucking cruising right now, right?
It's just hard to not put it on a bullpen guy when it's like the bullpen's been awful for 2 months.
100%.
I don't know what made me think of it, though, not to derail the conversation because we're going to continue on the awards. Got to shout out our guy Seth Lugo. For his all-star appearance and like a 2 ERA as a starter. It's like, that's the guy who gets out of the projects and you're just like, I'm happy he made it.
Phil, Kyle, don't worry. If like the starting pitching hits a snag or things get dark, I'll be doing our look around the league again where I'm referencing Seth Lugo and Zach Wheeler stats.
Yes.
And fucking want to jump off the fucking bridge.
We're doing it in Kansas City too. So it's like it's out of our heads. Like in the American League, we faced the Royals back in April. Don't have to see them again unless it's the World Series. So just have to appreciate it outside of mind.
Big time. And his wife still follows me, and I follow her, so I occasionally get like retweets. I'm like, oh, look at the Lugo family. They're so happy right now. It's like so much better just doing it in Kansas City. I'm sure they're happy with him out there. They don't people just bitching and moaning. And people still are in my mentions when I tweeted something a while ago, and they're like, he showed he couldn't be a starter. I'm like, he was a good starter. We moved to the bullpen. We never gave him like a real chance ever again. It was fucking banana land.
He was the best. He was the best setup guy when we needed him for Diaz. So it was just like, what are you going to do?
And he's been pitching with like a partial tear in his UCL since like 2017. So it's like 7 years and he hasn't had to get Tommy John surgery.
Yeah. Is that what what's his name? The Yankees Japanese pitcher had? Tanaka? Is that what Tanaka had?
Yeah, it's the same exact thing Tanaka had.
Yep. That was crazy. I thought that was a time bomb in his arm and he somehow made it through. All right, this one's a little different here, boys. And this award really can only like go to like Mets players or fans or whatever, because it's very unique team 101. Your 2024 first half meme VP, the best meme moment of the Mets. I know who the front runner is. He's minus like 6,000 on all books, but if you guys want to think outside the box, the purple guy I think is the clear leader in the clubhouse, right? Is there any other people you? So I'll make my case here for MVP. I'm giving it to Seymour Wiener. Seymour Wiener came out opening day and established the fucking pace of this season. He said this season is going to be absolutely ridiculous, wonky. My name is Seymour Wiener. I'm going to salute the crowd. Everyone just had fun with it. We rolled. He came back and was like, yeah, I know it's a fucking funny name. I think as much as I think Grimace is, like, again, we have tattoo bets. Phil agreed to the tattoo bet as well. Kyle's sister is a tattoo artist. It seems fucking a match made in heaven right here. The big purple guy, I think, was a very important part of this season. But Seymour Wiener, he was there from day one, opening day, and everyone fell into place where he followed. So I'll go Seymour Wiener for my meme VP. I guess think of someone outside of Grimace. Can you guys do that?
Can we count Jose Iglesias as a meme?
Yes,
because,
of course.
Yeah.
OMG, since he came up, that's kind of when the run really started.
Yeah.
That's
true.
It's crazy how many options we have because I just rattled off. Seymour Wiener got a raw deal because we started 0-5. If we had started on a hot streak, that by far would have been the runaway. Like there might not even be a Grimace at that point. Then you have Max Wiener, the rally pimp.
Yep.
Then you have the dog eating a hot dog, which I'm going to go with now because that's the most recent one of just they already made him an Instagram account. They're bringing him to all the games. He has the sign. Nobody loves attention in the crowd more than a Mets fan. Like there is Cowbell Man, there's Pin Man who are just punching air right now of we had to do this for years and we're still not getting the credit we deserve. That I'm going to go with. I'm going to go dog eating the hot dog, dog eat dog world. That's how we're going to make it through.
That's fair. All right. So I like that hot dog is awesome too. I also you mentioned him. I got to shout out our boy again, the Seymour Wiener into Max Wiener, the rally pimp. We went to the Strawberry retirement game with Max, and that guy was like the fucking star of the show. Every 5 seconds, it was like I said, when I went to Disney with Portnoy, every 5 steps, can I get a picture, man? Can I get a picture? So shout out Max. He's a really good dude, knows his shit, and loves the Mets. So
we didn't even remember the hot dog guy.
Oh, the hot dog guy!
Fire raining down. He's a construction worker, man.
And he came on the pod on 3 hours fucking sleep afterwards. Oh man,
the life of a Mets fan.
All right, so this one is this is kind of I guess Phil needs a new one for sure. All right, so I almost was going to say the first half MVP could have been Jorge Lopez, who was Phil's guy going into the season. We cut him. Everything opens up. The fucking clouds part. My MVP pick, Francisco Lindor, calls the meeting. Everything has worked out good since he left. But I'm saying, do you want to change your guy for the season? Phil doesn't have a guy anymore. He got cut and made the Mets a fucking wagon. Kyle's guy is pretty good still, so he's good.
I am very happy with my choice.
Phil, do you want to transition to a second half my guy here?
Luis Torrens. We got him from the Yankees for $100,000 and solid backup catcher. I feel like whenever he's hitting the lineup, it's it's not an auto out. So I'll go Luis Torrens. Take the backup catcher job in honor of our fallen friend Tomas Nido. And that's my new guy.
Okay, I like that. Actually, I'm thinking about it. My guy, I'm pretty sure was Brett Beatty. I had the Brett Beatty fan club going. We looked good for a week there. We looked great. I will pivot to the Buttman. I mean, Jose Budo. We're gonna have I feel like we're gonna have a bullpen by the end of this season. We're gonna have a legitimate. I mean, it all depends on Diaz if he can be there in the ninth and continue doing that stuff. But I think Stearns has the chops to get us there, and we have the arms. It's just a matter of filling it all in. I swear to God, if they don't put McGill in that fucking bullpen when he comes back, I am going to go on a murderous rampage. So I'll go with the Buttman.
He's going to be the guy that I'm circling for it's going to be a game changer if he's coming out of the bullpen because he's our Trevor Williams guy, except he throws 97.
Yeah. He's the guy I'm circling for if we could trade him for an actual arm. So we're thinking different directions.
He has to bolster the bullpen. Our pitchers are only throwing 4 or 5 innings, and then you got a guy who comes out and can throw 2-3 innings. It's a game changer for bridging the gap to whatever. I guess Diaz.
Yeah. All right. So grade David Stearns. Did I just say David Stearns? Grade Stearns on his first half. As GM president, from what you thought you were going to get to what he's actually done. I don't know if you want to do. We'll do balls. Well, I was going to say we're going to do A through F, or we'll do pizza scale. No, we're doing the ball scale, 1 through 5. Stearns, how you feel in terms of his job and confidence in him, from the first half and then moving forward to the second half and for the foreseeable future. We'll start with Kyle here.
I'm going to give him 4 balls.
4 balls. Okay.
I like the constant motion. He never sits on his hands. It's never going to be a situation where in 2022 where we needed a couple extra pieces that we didn't go get. He's going to turn over every single rock and try to get whatever he can to piecemeal it together. I think we're going to see a pretty I'm hoping masterclass at the trade deadline, but so far so good. I mean, he's done everything he's needed to do, and now that the bats are starting to hit again, it seems like he's being proven right, because people were pissed at him in the beginning of the year, but that wasn't his fault.
Yeah, this grade will look very different in 2 weeks when it's August 1st after the deadline, and then on October 1st after those deadline players pan out. So Phil, what do you got for Stearns here?
I'd go 4 balls too, but it's also he's had a quick hook on a ton of guys, but also not quick enough on certain guys. Like Omar Narvaez may have overstayed his welcome by like a month or so. Adam Ottavino and Jake Diekman are overstaying their welcome. I don't think he has a quick hook on those guys. So, like, he has had a quick hook on the Joey Wendells, the Zach Shorts of the world, Jorge Lopez, literally immediately after that game. Like, I think he cut him before he even spoke to the media. I'd go 4 balls, and hopefully it's 5 in 2 weeks.
Yep. I'm just gonna go with I'm going to go with a 4 or 5. Anytime that guy, I'm at the point where it's like anything he touches is gold. I'm blindly. I followed this with Leon Rose, and trust me, Leon Rose hit that first year, but then that second year was DeFournier, Kemba. There was plenty of fucking landmines in there too, but everything has panned out very well for Leon, and I feel like we got another guy here in Stearns, and I think there's a chance during the deadline there's going to be some moves that people may hate on, just like the beginning of the year moves, and then when they pan out, it's like, what the fuck you want the guy to do? And listen, I love a guy that cuts bait. That's one of my favorite things about Stearns. Cuts bait on the guys that aren't working. The only thing I like more than that is just signing guys that work and not having to blow games along the way. So hopefully get some more of those as we go.
There are some players that are sticking around even right now, though, like DJ Stewart.
Yeah.
Taking at bats away from people is going up. If Neil wasn't having such a bad season, Frank would be firmly having DJ Stewart in his crosshairs. Like, he would be the new Vogelback.
Is McNeil getting the Frank treatment right now? Is he getting like McFeebles and stuff like that?
Oh yeah. I think he beat him down to the point where he's so bad that Frank's just like, I have nothing else to say.
I mean, DJ Stewart has 6 hits since the middle of May. And
they were in a row. Like, he threaded those together. Yeah. He went 4 for 6, and then the 2 have just been sprinkled in. It's been bad.
Give me your one sentence instead of a grade. Give me your 1 sentence thought on Mendoza. Wow. All right.
He adapts. How about that?
Still not sold.
I think he's gotten better as a manager since opening day.
Yeah, couldn't have gotten much worse. He started off pretty poor. I think players manager who's learning is what I would say.
Hasn't burned the house down, right? That counts for something. With this fucking franchise especially. I don't really think about him, which is I guess a good thing, I don't. There's times where you're
no buck.
Yeah, that there it is. He's no buck. I think that might be the company tagline on that one.
My only serious complaint is whenever DJ Stewart's in a lineup batting 5th or 6th. It's that's it. Just don't bat him in the middle of the order.
I would love to know the thinking on when they got rid of Buck and the thinking with Mendoza and just how much this is all just being run by Stearns. How much of the times we said where that's the way baseball is now. The great Craig Counsell, the greatest signing of all time. And the Cubs are in last place, and the Brewers are still just churning out W's, right? All right, and then overall, just vibe of the team right now. How do you feel? What would you? All right, so what would you give the first half grade of the Mets after it's all said and done? We'll go A through F scale, typical school scale. How do you feel now that wild card above 500, do have a positive run differential as well, but also still on pace for 84 wins. By the way, we were this close. If we won that last game of the first half, I think we would have been on pace for 86 wins, and I would have said, you motherfuckers, that was what I predicted. The 86ers were going to win 86 games, do the Diamondbacks all the way, and then win the World Series this time. But unfortunately, we're at the 84 win pace right now. So A through F, where would you say?
What's your grade? You go first.
All right, I'll go first. I'm like a solid B because I think of where we were. We lost Kevin day one, basically. Me and Phil, there was a time where I was like, I'm just going to be on this fucking, me and Phil are going to be on Dunkirk, and everyone's in Consolina, and I was the, Squidward meme, where I'm just looking at you and Kevin just like drinking your daiquiris on the beach in Consolina, and I was like, I can't believe I have to just sit here and eat shit with this team all year. It probably could be a B- if you just like were just watching, you're looking at the payroll, which obviously has the guys who weren't even on the team. I could be a lot worse on them, but like, I'm happy. I wake up every morning, like Phil said, I have a summer, and that's all I could ask for. Giving a B+ feels like a little too much though for a team that's on pace for 84 wins. I do think they can get there if they, win some more games, and especially like they make some deadline moves or a couple young guys come up, then you get some real fucking excitement. This feels like, as an old man, I can remember, this feels like the 96-97 Mets, where I'm like, all right, things are about to get fun again. And then 98 is when it really started getting fun. So I don't think we're at 98 yet, and then 99, 2000, obviously. But I'm pretty good. I'm a B. That's all you can ask for as a fucking Mets fan. That's for sure. We'll go Phil. Phil, what do you got?
I was gonna say B, B-. Like, if you were back to like May 29th, I would have said F or D-. But in the last like 40 or so games, however hell it's been, I think it's a solid B. I think if you would have told us before the season starts you'll be in a wild card spot at the All-Star break, I think we all would have been like, oh wow, that's incredible. And you probably wouldn't have realized like, oh, it would have been how this happened. You would have to be 11 games under and then go right back up to it.
It's like, did like 3 teams die in like a plane crash or something? Like, how are we this far?
If you would have told me we're only 4 games back at the Braves at the All-Star break, I'd be like, oh wow, we're in second place.
Yeah. What do you got, Kyle?
I'm going C+, C for Consolina, plus for trending upwards.
Okay.
But they still have so much more left in the tank. Like, there were so many games that like we could be much further along than we should even be. And that was the point of the console in my head anyway. Kevin was 5 games in, he couldn't have known. Like, mine was they just didn't have the killer instinct. They couldn't finish off games, or they weren't hitting. Like, those 2 things were just like popping up left and right. I think that they're knock on wood past that. The offense knows what it is. Mendoza knows what the lineup should be. They've gotten some of those warts removed. The bullpen is the last like glaring problem. So I think if they're going to have a shot, they need to get more arms. C+ I think is fair. It's like you passed the class, you survived the first semester of the season. Now you got to get on to the second half and make sure that you nail those finals and get to where you need to go.
Yeah. And again, I think with us 4, 4, and 4.5 balls in Stearns, which is a wild sentence I just said live on the air. I feel like we think they're going to make the moves, necessary to happen, or at least we'll try. And again, I can't get upset about the trade deadline. You do your moves, and then you don't know. You just throw more fucking balls into a bag, and you're just hoping you hit the right ping pong balls. It's like complete, just an utter chaos.
Yeah,
of how it works out. So, do we have any is there any guy, Phil? I guess you would know this. There's no one that's like on their way up to like is on the precipice of getting called up to Queens. That like I thought Scott was going to be that dude after the last start against the Rockies. I'm like, I don't know if Scott's ready right now, and if he's ever going to be that guy.
No major prospect. Like Acuna is still like pushing like a sub 700 OPS in Syracuse, which is like very, very bad because everyone hits down there.
Yeah.
Drew
there's
Gilbert
a guy named Senga who's
Yeah.
Right through the minors
That's
right
true.
now.
He's killing that kid in Brooklyn, man. We just call him straight up from Brooklyn.
Syracuse, incredible.
Yeah, that's going to be really nice. Again, and that's just as good as trading. We're trading for Senga essentially at the deadline. It's like kill me.
I mean,
Kevin.
Drew Gilbert's like rehabbing right now. Like he'll probably be in Syracuse soon, and however he does there, maybe he could be a call up. Ryan Clifford's killing AA. That's really about it in terms of guys that we may see within the, Brandon Sproat. We forgot about him.
Oh yeah, the Sproat goat.
Like people think he's like the top pitching prospect in baseball right now. He could maybe be in the bullpen in September.
I'll take that, man. Again, that was one of my biggest gripes back in like the late 2010s was how many times we would just trade away these like guys who could be bullpen arms for like Juan Lagares clones. And who was the guy? Was it Marisnik from the Astros we got? Like we would trade guys like that. I'm like, why are we doing this? We need guys who could just go in the bullpen. So you get young live arms that aren't going to make the rotation. You throw them in the bullpen if it works. Fucking McGill better go there. But yeah, Senga, that's huge. That's a good point right there. So hopefully get Senga. And then, the prospects also just serve as like I think the Clifford, the big red dog, that's going to be like, do we sign Pete or do we find a stopgap? And that's going to be the first baseman of the future. That's going to be a very interesting conversation to have down the road. So second half is about to begin. All fucking smiles and laughs right now. And then by tomorrow night, they'll be back to the same old fucking
Barstool at the ballpark, July 27th, Mercury Mets Piazza giveaway. If you're not going to that game, I don't know what you're doing. Best deal in baseball, unlimited beer until the 7th. We got a pregame tailgate sponsored by Coors Light, $18 food voucher. And if you show up and get online early because you know they're going to go fast, Mike Piazza Mets Mercury jersey from the future.
I love that it's not only just a Mercury Mets, but it's like they threw the Piazza on there too, which kind of goes above and beyond. So that's absolutely incredible. So I'm stoked for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. And man, Barstool the ballpark, the vibes will be a little different than a couple months ago, the last one I was at. So hopefully see you guys there. Again, check it out. It'll be in the description or whatever. Kyle's been tweeting it out as well. So hope to see you guys at Barstool the ballpark, and hopefully see you guys for a nice happy recap podcast this time next week as we get ready for the trade deadline. Gotta believe.
Gotta believe.
Gotta believe.